Friends, do you think the modern world is full of quirky traditions? For instance, who even came up with the idea of tossing a bouquet at weddings? But that's nothing compared to what our ancestors used to do. Today, we'll dive into the world of the most bizarre rituals of the ancient world. Imagine this. People sacrificed chocolate, danced themselves to death, and jumped over babies to cleanse their sins. Forget your New Year's tradition of eating Olivier salad. These are rituals that will send shivers down your spine, and maybe make you chuckle a little too. But wait. Before we dive into the meat of the topic, or more precisely, into Dancing with the Dead, yes, that's coming too. I want to hear your thoughts. What's the strangest tradition you've ever heard of? Maybe your grandma shared something so peculiar that it makes you wonder, could this be a forgotten ritual? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I promise to read the most interesting ones in the next video. So, as you've already figured out, this is going to be a real parade of oddities. And if you think today's world is weird and complicated, just wait until you see what our ancestors were up to. Let's start with the Vikings, who were skilled not only in fighting, but also in psychedelic tripping before battles. Ready? Let's go. Have you ever wondered how the Vikings transformed into true beasts in battle? No, they didn't hit the gym, and they definitely weren't sipping protein shakes. Their secret? A genuine mushroom party before the fight. Yes, imagine this. Instead of coffee or energy drinks, these guys fueled up on hallucinogenic mushrooms. Berserkers weren't just warriors, they were walking natural disasters. They would enter a trance, turning into the likeness of bears or wolves. Not literally, of course, but with an unstoppable drive to conquer. Legends say their fury, strength, and inability to feel pain were so terrifying that enemies would often flee before the battle even began. Why did it work? Most likely, the mushrooms contain psychoactive substances that radically altered their state of mind. Why did it work? Most likely, the mushrooms they consumed contained psychoactive substances that induced an altered state of consciousness and a deep combat trance. This didn't just make them braver, it erased their sense of pain, fear, and exhaustion. How do you like this approach to battle preparation? Let me know in the comments. Would you dare to try something like this? The Greeks didn't just invent democracy, they actually invented fierce dance battles. And if you think that their parties were all about sipping wine and singing along to the lyre, fasten your seatbelts. Because the festivals in honor of Dionysus, the god of chaos and parties, were like Coachella, Burning Man, and Taylor Swift's last concert, mixed into one giant, uncontrollable rave where actual exhaustion could put you out of commission forever. Participants danced until they literally fell off their feet. There was no pause button, no, wait, I need water, and certainly no, let me take a quick picture of this for TikTok. Although if TikTok had existed back then, the Dance Till You Drop challenge would have gone viral, just without the repeat option. But for the Greeks, it was not just a chaotic mosh pit, it was a sacred ritual. Dionysus was the god of chaos, and this ritual symbolized the loss of control over the body in the name of spiritual purification. Dancing was not just about having a good time, it meant surrendering to divine madness and letting yourself go completely. So, dancing to death is literally live bright, die beautifully. But if you think this is the wildest thing, just wait. The next ritual involves chocolate, blood, and a bit of magic. Ready to find out? Let's go. Imagine this. You're living in ancient Maya civilization, and your morning doesn't start with coffee. It starts with a cup of thick, bitter cacao. But hold on, don't get too excited because this isn't just a tasty drink. It's sacred. The Maya believed that cacao was a gift from the gods, and drinking it was basically a divine connection. How did it work? Cacao was used in rituals for coronations, weddings, and even funerals. It was sometimes mixed with blood during sacrifices. Yep, the Maya thought blood plus cacao equals even more divine approval. Archaeologists have found cacao residue in burial vessels, proving its deep ritual significance. Now picture this: a massive temple, priests in elaborate robes holding cups of rich dark cacao, and a crowd bowing in prayer. This wasn't just a morning pick-me-up. This was a way to connect with the gods. Sounds strange? Maybe. But think about today's coffee obsession. People happily drop a small fortune on a fancy cacao latte, take a picture of the foam, and post it with the caption, "Divine Taste." So who are the real cacao fanatics here? Maybe, just maybe, nothing has really changed. Instead of priests, we have baristas. Instead of temples, we have Starbucks. And instead of rituals, we have, "Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee." Next, we have babies and jumping over them. Yes, this is not a joke. Let's go. All right, you've probably heard of some creative ways to cleanse the soul. Confession, meditation, maybe a little yoga. Well, Spain took things to the next level, because here, in a small town, grown men in demon costumes literally jump over newborns to bless them. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't Cirque du Soleil. It's a real religious ritual called El Colacho. And yes, it's still happening today. So what's the deal? The idea is that by leaping over the babies, the devil absorbs their sins, leaving them spiritually squeaky clean. If all goes well, congrats, kid, you're now sin-free for life. Imagine showing up to your baptism and instead of water, a guy in a banana yellow demon suit just vaults over your crib. It's like someone saw the Olympics and thought, you know what's missing? Babies. This ritual is basically what happens when parkour meets Catholicism. But why babies specifically? I have no idea. That's a question for the theologians. I'm just here to process the fact that somewhere in Spain, an annual baby hurdle race is still a thing. Imagine this. You receive a wedding invitation. Everything's as usual. White dress, toasts, guests, except for one tiny detail. The groom is, well, dead. Yep, not a joke. In China, there's a ritual called Ming Hun, marriage with a ghost. If a young person dies unmarried, their family can arrange a wedding with another deceased person. Because, you know, even souls don't want to be forever alone. The ceremony looks almost like a regular wedding. Flowers, fireworks, a festive dinner. But instead of a groom, there's a wooden tablet or a portrait. And everyone pretends this is totally normal. For the Chinese, it's not that strange. They believe marriage helps souls find peace. Because even in the afterlife, parents are probably thinking, so, when are you getting married? What do you think about this kind of wedding? Tell us in the comments. Would you attend such a ceremony? And if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. We love making you smarter and just a little confused. Imagine you're a goat. Yep, a real goat. And you've just been made the official scapegoat for all human problems. It all started in ancient Israel. Once a year, people took two goats, one as a sacrifice to God, and the other as the goat for all problems. A priest would place his hands on the goat, and bam! All the community's sins were officially the goat's problem. After that, the goat was sent into the desert like, off you go, take all our sins with you. And the goat probably wandered off thinking, I just wanted to munch some grass, and now I'm responsible for everyone's issues. Over time, scapegoat became a metaphor. Now it's anyone you can conveniently blame. Like, project failed, totally Bob from accounting's fault. Even though Bob just brought the coffee. So the next time someone says, this is all your fault, just remember, there was a time when actual goats handled that job. And honestly, they were probably better crisis managers. They say beauty requires sacrifice. In ancient Egypt, this phrase wasn't just a metaphor. There, achieving beauty meant reshaping your skull.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Yep, no joke. For Egyptians, an elongated skull wasn't just a fashion trend. It was a symbol of divine origin, elitism, and high status. Want to look like a chosen one of the gods? Well, better prep your head. To reach this ideal, Babies' heads were tightly wrapped with cloth or straps. It's basically an ancient prototype of plastic surgery. No anesthesia, no right to say no, and of course, no guarantees, except the guarantee of a weird-looking head. How do you usually express grief? Maybe through songs, flowers, or a moment of silence. Well, for the Dani tribe in the jungles of Indonesia, things are a bit more extreme. Imagine this. A family member passes away, and to show your sorrow, you have to cut off a finger. Yes, this ritual is no joke. Each lost finger symbolized the depth of grief and respect for the deceased. Keeping all 10 fingers? That meant you weren't mourning hard enough. The finger cutting was done manually, often by a close relative, and though the tradition has nearly disappeared, some elderly tribe members still bear hands with missing fingers, a lasting reminder of their past losses. It's an act of love, devotion, and undeniably immense bravery. But just imagine how the modern music industry would look if musicians had to sacrifice fingers for grief. They say beauty is pain. But for some African tribes, pain was more than just aesthetics. It was a path to spiritual cleansing. Imagine this. You show up for a ritual, and the shaman goes, "Relax, it's for your soul," then pulls out a knife. At that point, you're not sure what's worse, the cleansing or sheer terror. The knife purification ritual was a true art form, demanding immense courage. Each cut had meaning, creating patterns that told stories of achievements, status, or major life events. Want enlightenment? Gotta endure. Pain? Just a reminder that you're still alive. So are the screams of the participants. Dancing with the Dead? Sounds like the tagline of a horror movie, or the name of a party gone horribly wrong. But for the people of Madagascar, this isn't just a ritual. It's a full-blown family celebration. This tradition is called Famadihana, or turning of the bones. In most cultures, we honor our ancestors with a moment of silence. Here, the louder, the better. Imagine this. You dig up your ancestors' remains, wrap them in fresh fabric, give them a big hug, and start dancing. It's like reconnecting with a distant relative who's been really off the grid for a while. Sounds strange? But for the locals, it's an act of love and respect. A reminder that family stays family, even when some members have been quiet for a very long time. A family reunion with dancing, just with one extra guest who hasn't spoken in years. But hey, every culture has its traditions. How would you react if your family suddenly decided to throw one of these reunions? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe before we dig up even more wild stories.